in order to make an object interactable, for example, able to be picked up by your hand, virtual hand, you need to add in the NVR interactable item script. This is the one over here. When you add it, you don't need to change anything for it to work, but you can change the settings here a bit. For example, you can make it attachable or not attachable. If you disable that, then you won't be able to pick it up. You can pick it up, allow it to be picked up by two hands. If you tick this, then you'll be able to bind both hands to the object. It's a bit tricky. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Or if it's disabled, you'll be able to pick it up with one hand, and if you press the trigger with the other hand, it will transfer to the new hand. Leave everything else as it is, unless you know what you're doing, and test it out. The only thing that needs to be added is the NVR player, which is the player controlling the physics of the NewtonVR script. So, for example, if you just add on the NVR to the bat, then it wouldn't know that it's being picked up because there is no trigger on the hands to show that you have touched the bat. So to do that, what I do is instead adding the NVR player as a parent to all the camera rig and models that you've set up previously. So you set this up, camera rig, model here, calibration script, and then add them all as children of the NVR player. The VR calibration script doesn't matter where it is. So add them as a child. It comes with a head, a left hand and a right hand, and normally they come as visible white controllers. I'll show you how to turn them off in a second. Once you add these, make sure that the left hand and the right hand here are 0, 0, 0, then they will match your controllers perfectly. And once you put the on, you should automatically work to pick up the bat with the grip or trigger button. You can change which button is used for that in here in the NVR player script. Over here, it can either be a toggle or a hold. For example, you hold it and you hold the bat as long as you're holding the button, or you hold the bat when you press the button and drop the bat when you press the button again. In order to change which button it is, you go into each hand. And for example, here the hold button is set to trigger. That means you will grab the object with the trigger, and you will use objects which we don't use in this experience with the other button. You can change that to grip, and that will make it so that you grab the bat with the grip instead of the trigger button. Same for the right hand. Work it up yourself. This should be it. Where's the trigger? There we go. And that's all for NewtonVR. There are more options that you can explore and play around with, but I've not had the time to explore them. The only thing is it's quite difficult to hide the controllers. Once you start the scene, there's white controllers and a white headset on your head. In order to hide these, you need to override them with empty models of hands, but you need to keep the colliders on the hands because they're the ones that interact with the bat. If they're not there, it wouldn't know that you're touching an object. So in order to do that, I have created two prefabs here in the SteamVR plugins. Prefabs, there's left hand, right hand, and that's it. So add these here to the controller. They contain a collider object as well. So there's two objects here, like parents. And in that case, when you press play, it will create the second child object underneath here. I guess that only works when you have the VR headset on. And there will be a child here which will appear, which will be the collider left and collider right, and they will be interacting with the objects. So add in the NVR player prefab from third party, NewtonVR, and assets, I think. Yep. And 1 second. Example. Right. NVR player. Oh, there it is. In the NewtonVR, there's the NVR player component. When you add it here, it comes with these. head, left, right, and a teleporter. You can turn on the teleporter. It works by pressing the trackpad. You can test it out. We can turn it off whenever you want. I don't remember the skeleton being here. I guess I've turned it on very early, and I think it's that button. Yep, you can turn it off if you don't want it. So there's left hand, the right hand, and just change the override here. We, instead of none, use the ones that I showed you in SteamVR. Plugins, SteamVR, prefabs, left, collider left, right, oh, collider right. Come back. When you play that, the hands will be invisible and it won't interrupt your experience. That's it.